On April 29, 2023, Bailey quote-tweeted a photo of Glen Powell with the caption, "He looks like a capybara who made a wish to become human." This is the Museum of Twitter, the show we talk about the most important tweets in the history of Twitter.com. Some people might say I'm jumping the gun, that this isn't that important of a tweet, but I think the fact that one of our few up-and-coming, if not already come-up, movie stars has a canonical tweet about him is pretty important. And I do want to apologize to Pitsy Pile, whose tweet I skipped over. The original tweet reads, "Me next in line at the dispensary trying to act normal." And that is the face that Glen Powell is making here. But that's not the tweet that became canonical about him. It was Bailey's observation that he looks like a capybara who wished to become human. Okay, but who is Glen Powell? Glen Powell is a movie star who burst onto the scene. I mean, he's been around for a while, but he burst onto the scene notably in Top Gun Maverick, and he was the lead last summer of Twisters. He's been in a bunch of other movies that are good, like Hitman and Set It Up, but these are definitely the two movies that he's most famous for. And especially after Top Gun Maverick, where he absolutely popped, he was everywhere. He was doing red carpets like this one, where he made this face. And the photo in question was actually taken from his Wikipedia page at the time, and it's from an event from 2016 celebrating the movie Hidden Figures, which he is in. I don't know if you guys realize this, but Hollywood careers are long, and a lot of times when someone gets big, they've been doing regular work in movies that you've probably seen for like 10 years. Okay, but what is a capybara? If you're on the internet a lot, I'm sure you know what a capybara is, but maybe some of you don't. A capybara is this animal. It is native to South America, and it is technically the largest rodent. Yes, what you're looking at is a rodent. They are known for being extremely chill, slow-moving, and they are aquatic. And this is their energy basically all the time. Okay, so those are the two elements at play, but let's combine them together. How does this tweet affect Glen Powell's legacy? How accurate is it? I needed an expert. So I reached out to my friend Rachel Leishman, who is, I think, the biggest Glen Powell expert in the world, outside of Glen Powell and his parents, probably. So let's go to my conversation with her, where she gives her Glen Powell credentials. Rachel, what would you say qualifies you to be a Glen Powell expert?
Well, so I have a podcast called The Powell Pod where me and my friends talk about Glen Powell's movies. Um, Other than that, I just exist on the internet and everyone's talking about him nowadays. So I see him all over the place. And that I think makes me an expert by osmosis.
The capybara photo, I think, is very important in Glen Powell lore. Where did you first encounter it?
As the meme, there are some less than PG versions of the meme.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is probably where I maybe saw it first, but it's hard to say because it is now all over the internet. The more
Mm-hmm.
and more he becomes famous, the more this picture pops up.
And when you saw the photo independently, did you think he looked like a capybara who made a wish to become human?
No, but I do understand. Like, it's very funny that you asked me this because yesterday my friend is sick, and so she texted me a picture from Peacock, the
Mm-hmm.
streaming service, and Twisters is on Peacock streaming, so
Mm-hmm.
it's like on the top things. And she said that she thought he looked like some kind of animal. Let me get her exact wording. He kind of looks like a woodchuck, or if a chipmunk wished to be a person here. To which I said, he is known as looking like a capybara. And she said, yes, 100% that. I knew there was an even better animal comparison. So the people do see it. How I feel doesn't matter. It is far and wide, people see him as a capybara.
I think independent of the capybara, though, it is a silly photo, no matter what. He's making a silly face.
He's like, doesn't know how to smell. And if I remember correctly, I could be wrong, but it was like he wasn't even supposed to be on that red carpet.
Mm-hmm.
He just like ended up on this red carpet. And then that picture has now followed him to he's one of the biggest movie stars around, and that picture is still following him to this day.
Now, would you say, once again, independent of the photo, would you say that he has capybara who wish to be human energy?
Yes. My favorite meme is when they did the Hot Ones versus, he really leaned into it because one of the things was like when they were doing him and Daisy Edgar Jones were doing the game, it was like what's my favorite animal, or what animal do I want to be, or something like
Mm-hmm.
that. And she's saying like legitimate answers that people would put on a whiteboard, and he wrote capybara, and he like turns it and he's like,
Can you do the capybara face?
in the picture.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, he's leaning fully into it, and I'm fine with that. I like that. That I think is very fun.
Do you think that this capybara energy helps him as a movie star? Do you think that's part of his popularity now? Because he's, we really don't make movie stars anymore, and he feels like one of the few. Do you think that those go hand in hand?
Well, yeah, because I think I don't think it's necessarily the capybara energy. I think it is that he leaned into the joke,
Mm.
because I do think like there while I thought the rodent boy meme was mean,
Mm-hmm.
those boys could have really leaned into it and, like, made that a whole funny thing and been like, "Well, this is the internet, they're gonna be mean to me, I'm a celebrity, might as well have fun with
Mm-hmm.
it." Where I feel like he is having fun with this picture because he's shared it on his own account, like, it has become a thing, like, people know about this picture even if they're not really a fan of his, they just
Mm-hmm.
know that there's this picture of Glen Powell that exists,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it helps in that appeal because he's leaning into the joke, and he's done it a couple times where he's leaned into what people are saying and joking about in order
Mm-hmm.
to kind of promote something, and I think that's what we're missing from the modern movie star. They don't do that as much anymore.
Yes. And have you ever seen a capybara in person?
No, I want to. I wanna meet the one, I think it's San Antonio, Texas.
Mm.
My
I
friend
I
lives
have.
in
I've seen one. Now, I haven't met one, but I went to like a zoo that probably wasn't that reputable when I was like 18 near me and my parents live in Florida and they had a couple capybaras and they were just chilling. It was great.
wait, addendum. I've seen a capybara. I've
Okay.
seen Glen Powell in the flesh.
Oh, okay.
So I'm
There we
saying
go.
the
That
same
makes
one.
sense. Yeah. I mean, the thing about capybaras is they really are just the chillest animal.
Have
Like
you seen
they're
this little
so
one? The San Antonio
I have
one? I
not, but
love
I'm sure
this so much.
they just sit there and they do nothing almost. Like there's the classic video of the one having like water drip on his head and he's just chilling. Just,
Yeah.
you know.
And that's if that's not the epitome of Glen Powell, that
Mhm.
he just is chilling, he's just living his life, he's like, "Whatever." Like, recently, he was paparazzi pictured while filming and his hand is all bandaged up. No one knows what happened, and he's
Mhm.
just like, "Whatever, here are my groceries." And
Mhm.
you gotta love that about him. He's just a chill dude.
I want to thank Rachel for coming on. There was basically a 0% chance I would ever do any episode about Glen Powell without consulting her. Rachel mentioned that Glen Powell has referenced this photo himself in other ways. One instance is when he did some scandalous photos for Us Weekly. He quote tweeted the original tweet and said, "I only took my pants off to try to bury this photo." And yes, in case you're wondering, Glen Powell has met a capybara himself. Obviously, people have photoshopped Glen Powell's face in this photo onto a capybara, and the meme became so far-reaching that Build-A-Bear put out a Twisters related ad where all they needed to do was put a cowboy hat onto a capybara in front of a tornado and people knew that it had to be Glen Powell's character in Twisters. Because yes, I'm anticipating a lot of people saying that they never saw this before, but I really have to say, if Build-A-Bear is referencing someone's observation, it's probably an important tweet. I also don't know why I'm defending myself so much here. I make these decisions. And lastly, sometimes people have tried to make this observation about other celebrities and other animals. I saw one from a couple weeks ago where someone said that Adam Scott looks like if a porcupine made a wish to be human. I don't think that that's as accurate, but I do like that people are trying different riffs on it. I think that it's important to ideate on Twitter jokes. And I do want to say that as a movie guy, Glen Powell has it. Like, he just has a movie star quality, and I'm excited that he is getting good roles. Like, him and Edgar Wright's version of The Running Man is gonna be awesome. But I will say, even if he ends up being his generation's Harrison Ford or whatever, anytime I see him, I'll always think about that very large rodent in South America. Follow me for a new tweet every day and consider subscribing at patreon.com/museum of Twitter. And more important than that, I'm doing an 18-hour live stream on February 22nd to raise money for the Trevor Project. All the information is on my Twitter and my Blue Sky. That's at the J Christie on Twitter and at J Christie on Blue Sky. I'm going to be streaming on Twitch. Check me out there, and you can donate beforehand to win some prizes like signed copies of tweets. I've gotten some of the people who have been on the show before to print out with nice paper and sign a copy of their tweet. So check my Twitter and Blue Sky feeds for all that, and you might have yourself a fancy version of a signed tweet.